I'll bump it. I go sit at the dining room table. I'm moving around. Trying to figure out where I'm gonna sit.
Make up your mind, woman.
I know, right? Okay. Now.
Yeah, I chose the dining room table. It was either the living room couch or the dining room table. And I thought on the couch, I might be too comfortable and you might end up snoring. So I better sit upright, as straight up as I can get.
Yeah, we don't want you to do that one.
No, not on live. No, we don't.
Mayor Pro Tem, we are live on YouTube, so if you want to get us started.
Let's get this meeting rolling. We'll start by calling the meeting to order, and City Manager SNYDER, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next up is the roll call. So Clerk Domingo, will you call the roll?
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Reed, Smith, Lawler,
I'm here. If you call my name, I went offline for a minute for whatever reason.
Spicer,
Here.
Williamson,
Here.
and Mayor Atchison.
Okay, so we'll move into items for individual discussion, and City Manager SNYDER, take it away.
All right, thank you all for joining us tonight. So we just have a few remaining funds to review for tonight, just our street funds and then the recreation department. So I will go ahead and hand it off to Finance Director Tom Mead to kind of give us an overview of those funds.
Good evening, everyone. As Interim City Manager SNYDER said, we got 5 funds remaining that we didn't get to look at Saturday. Not so much because they're difficult in the sense of trying to put stuff together, but more so, I guess, because there were some unique things going on with some of these. So I'm going to actually focus primarily on the street funds, and I'll let Interim Manager SNYDER maybe talk some more about recreation. But on the street funds, if you had a chance to look at the narrative, we basically have 4 funds that we think of as relating to the streets. We have the major street fund, the local street fund, and kind of as the name implies, they're all the major streets that MDOT designate as major are in the major fund. All the side streets and residential streets and some of the smaller streets are in the local street fund. And those 2 funds basically are for the maintenance of the streets primarily, snow plowing and filling potholes and that kind of stuff. And that does cover the labor of the guys out doing the work. On the major fund, we will get some reimbursement from MDOT for doing some of the work on their streets that run through town. And the other major revenue for those 2 funds is Act 51 money, and of course, which is tied heavily to gasoline tax. And there had been some talk at the state with COVID of those being reduced, the revenues being reduced because of the uncertainty of the economy and, when they shut down, and they actually did scale back some of the payments during the summer or late last spring and early summer. I suppose it's possible they could do that again as we as COVID is spiking again. Although I don't know at this point if it's really slowed down travel a lot. Maybe it's even better now because people aren't flying or doing cruises. So maybe more people are traveling up north or whatever. So maybe the gasoline tax will actually be up. I don't know for sure, but at any rate, they give us their projection on a website at the state of Michigan. That's where we pull the revenue numbers from. Related to these funds, we have a street improvement fund and a MDOT street improvement fund. And those funds are the funds that we kind of account for all the big capital improvements on. And as you're aware, we've had some major capital improvements or major projects going on with some of the funds in the last couple of years. And between 18 and now we've seen North Street completed, and it's kind of on the second page of that narrative there. At a cost of just under $1 million, we had Irwin completed at a cost of about $2.5 million, and we have Clark Street in process. I think it's getting close to being wrapped up, but that's a little over $500,000. We also wanted to look at in 2021. Because obviously we were doing the 2021 budget, we had to come up with where we're going to, or how we're going to fund the project in 2021, which is proposed the first, second, third, Hartwell, and Wild Streets. And the estimated cost at this point right now is $1.7 million, almost $1.8 million for those streets. Now, those numbers do include some sewer and water work underneath the streets. So sewer and water does kick in to help cover some of the costs of this. But I guess the bottom line with these four funds, the thing I want to kind of point out is in total that from 2018 to what we're projecting in 2021, in total, we're looking at about $5.8 million in street improvement projects. And again, when I say street improvement, that does include some of the infrastructure beneath the streets as well, sewer and water to some degree. But the big thing about that, in the time frame that I've been here at the city, I can't recall us having done that much in that short period of time. I mean, that's a huge amount. That $5.8 million, of which about $2.8 million was covered with grants or will be covered with grants, leaving the city to have to come up with just over $3 million. Fortunately, we have the money to do it, but it is going to draw heavily on those four funds. I think what we're kind of thinking is if we do the 2021 project, it's going to draw the funds down enough where in 2022 we may want to just sit back, let the funds build up a little bit again, so that in 2023 we can be assured that we have some money available for the estimated, or for the street project that's supposedly going to take place out there at Haven Road. And I think that there is a grant to cover that. So the city would have to come up somewhere in the neighborhood of $400,000 on that. So we should be able to handle that if everything goes as planned. So I don't know, I guess the biggest thing, I mean, if you have questions, definitely feel free to jump in there. But if you look through the summary sheets there, you're going to see some big expenses coming out, to cover these street projects. But the bottom line is they're all going to end up with positive fund balance. Like I said, we got the money to handle it. I'm not saying it's, going to be it's a little tricky, I guess. That's kind of why we waited till the night to put this together, because we kind of had to go through all these funds and including sewer and water, and seeing how much, how much is going to come from each of the funds to, or how much each fund's going to contribute to all these big projects, and still leave all the funds to have positive fund balance and have money left over to go into the 2023 fund. But it actually surprisingly worked out fairly well. Like I said, we all are going to have positive fund balance at the end of 2021 on all of them. So I think we're in pretty good shape to move forward with those projects. Does anyone have any specific questions on the street fund ones? Seeing none. I don't know, Haley, do you want me to talk about recreation some, or do you want to jump in on that one? Or
will you just highlight, I guess, the millage and how it currently is funded, and then I will go in and cover the rest.
Sure. And I might add too, in this, I'm going to backpedal a little bit. I mentioned that the major and local streets get the majority of their funding from Act 51 money, and then a little bit from reimbursement from MDOT. But as you're aware, we have the local street millage, and that goes into the street improvement funds, Fund 450 and 452, to help cover the costs of doing these big projects. And that's why I said if we drain them down from what we spent in 18, 19, 20, and what we intend to spend in 21, by sitting back, I don't know, I guess we can see where we're at the end of 21, but if we sit back and let 2022's tax revenue come in, it'll build that fund up again. And of course, we'll have the tax revenue come in for 23 as well. And that should give us plenty of money to do the 2023 project. So just want to point out that there is that street millage, and it does come into the street improvement funds. And similar to that, we have the recreation millage, which is kind of what made me think of the street millage. So every year, with the special recreation millage, we collect just under about 200,000 or so on the recreation millage. If you recall, it was bumped up a little bit the last time, bumped up $500,000 the last time it was approved. A small portion of that we have been giving to the senior center, but the rest of it is available for the recreation programs. If you look at 2020, we're looking at about 205,000 in revenue, and possibly 179,000 of expense, leaving us with a profit of about 26,000. 2021, if we continue the same, I think we were looking at about 205,000 revenue, and we bumped up expenses some. I can't remember. I think part of that was some anticipation of some contractual costs for some programs or programming. But at any rate, we're looking at about a $6,000 shortfall in 21, but they have a pretty healthy fund balance. Their fund balance, even with the $6,000 shortfall, fund balance would still be 165,000. So we anticipate they'll end this year somewhere probably 172,000 fund balance, maybe a little higher. So any questions on that one?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
So when it talked about classes programs, are those what we're considering in the summer programs? That summary that you had on the sheet, the last sheet, before we got off into the budget, there was a list of classes and programs that would be included.
That is not currently included. That is if we decide to go, so for 2021, well, let me start out, back up. So 2020, we've been dealing with COVID has really significantly impacted the recreation department. Currently, 3 of our recreation staff members are furloughed. They have been furloughed for some time, I believe, since August. The city has an agreement in place with Marshall Opportunity School to utilize that facility to provide our programs. With COVID, Marshall and the emergency orders and restrictions in place, as well as Marshall Public Schools and the restrictions that they have in place, we have not been able to host any programs out of the Opportunity School as for this year. So I have provided 2 different possible proposals for 2021. The first one would be we would continue to operate as is. We would renew the lease with Marshall Opportunity School, which I believe we pay $25,000 per year. We would continue to provide the programs that we currently do, which are the Learn to Swim, water aerobics, open community walk, open gym, music in the park, summer dreams, P-Pods, summer enrichment, Tai Chi. Larry, am I missing any out of the opportunity? Feel free to jump in if I am missing any from the Opportunity School, but if we decide to go this route, we would continue to offer the same programs.
Okay, I did see those inside of the packet.
Yep.
But then also, like you said, the one that says classes and programs would be included. So you're saying those would be additional if you would decide to have any more. These would be the additional classes and programs on top of what you already have.
No, this would be something separate. That is under the YMCA proposal. So that is completely separate from, if we decide to move that route, we would no longer offer the current programs. We would offer the programs that would be listed, that were listed under that proposal. So the second route would be, as you are aware, the Y has provided several programs to our community for the last several months. With that, we are looking, this is just kind of an expansion upon those programs. So they would be free to all Albion residents. I have Jill Hine is with us as well. Let me add her to. Okay. Jill is able to chime in too. So it would just kind of be an expansion on the current YMCA programs that have been offered. We would enter into an agreement so they would provide all programming for the community. They would be free to all residents. With that, we would utilize the Washington Gardner Gymnasium as well as the Dow facility. Dr. Johnson, Albion College president, has joined us as well because this, if we go that route, it kind of, his organization would be included in this plan. So I will kind of let Jill share, expand on that and provide a little bit more detail on that proposal.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. During COVID in the past 6 months, we worked with Haley and with Larry Williams and Harry Bonner and set up some new community programming that was allowed during the COVID restrictions. And what we're hoping to do is expand on some of those things that started during the past few months. And I think you referenced a list of the programs that we're proposing. So what we're proposing to do is come in and run the recreation program with Albion staff, and hiring a crew to do that, a coordinator and a team that would help deliver those programs. And building on the things that we already offered, if you recall, we did a memorandum of understanding with the council in June for a summer camp at Holland Park. And we did childcare for first responders and medical provider children at Kids and Stuff. And then we also, into the fall, started to do some local fitness classes. We did a hip hop step class at Victory Park at Double Vision. And then we also added senior fitness in a feature class. So what we'd like to do is continue with those programs and then expand on other programmatic offerings based on what the community would like to see in terms of recreation. And then Haley referenced Washington Gardner. We are working currently with the college. They are working on a larger plan for a, and I think Dr. Johnson can speak a little more to this, but working on a plan for what they call the Body and Soul Center at Washington Gardner, the former middle school. And currently there is space for the Y to operate out of the Washington Gardner gym and what used to be the multi-purpose room or boardroom. So we could have a small footprint in order to run programs. And I would also be interested in running programs in local parks, McIntosh Park, Holland Park, Victory Park. I think it's important to put recreation into the neighborhoods where local residents can access those programs. And then also I know that water aerobics and swimming has been a big part of what Albion Recreation has offered. And we would look to be able to continue that in partnership with the college by utilizing the college pool when it was available for swim lessons and water aerobics. So that's kind of the overview. Haley, I don't know, do you, does that cover kind of what you're looking for, or do you want to open that to questions?
Yep, nope, it did. And I kind of just would like to expand on that. So I've reached out to Jill to kind of, recreation has been a big topic on council, I know, and within the community, I know people would like to see more programs and expanded programs here. And with COVID, that's, like I said, it's had a significant impact on the programs that we do offer. And it does not seem that COVID is going away anytime soon. I know there are talks of the vaccine, but I do feel that we will be dealing with this for some time. And I just would not like to see another year pass where we are unable to provide programs to our community, just with the restrictions and just the unknowns. And also the city's resources are extremely limited. And I think by partnering with the different organizations in our community, it makes us stronger together. The Y has access to different grants and resources that the city do not have the opportunity to utilize. So I think by partnering with these organizations, we are able to build provide better programs to our community. So that is why I have provided this option to you as a possibility for 2021. So with that, if this is the route, we would enter into the agreement with the YMCA to provide all recreation program. Jill did mention there is a big emphasis. We will hire local. I don't want this to seem like we are having an outside entity try to come in, take over and take charge. That is not my intent or what I want this to seem like. I want community input and community participation, and for them to be a part of this process. So with that being said though, our recreation staff the positions would be completely eliminated with the exception of one position. I do want to kind of expand and offer health and a nutritional aspect to our recreation program. So I would like to incorporate the farmers market into that. Currently the farmers market falls under the EDC. However, Laura Overhaul is no longer with the EDC, and so we do not have someone to oversee that. And I just would not like to see the farmers market leave our community. I think it is a very successful event. So I would like to tie kind of that nutrition aspect into recreation. So this position would kind of be a farmers market / special projects coordinator, because our recreation, we also provide the daddy-daughter dance, mother-son dance, and other special community events. And I don't want that to go away. So that the Albion Recreation Department would still put on those events, and this new position would be responsible for that. So with that, I would just open it up to questions and any discussion.
Tom, I think you made a mention of how much revenue do we get in local millage for the rec department?
We have been reporting, actually, as I look at the detail here, it's been running closer to about 165 to 170,000 after capture. I think the millage will collect almost 200,000, but then we have capture from, the DDAs and TIFAs. So the net coming into the rec department's been running about 160, just like 164 up to 170 in that range. And then there's other miscellaneous revenue. You know, we've had some contributions, some interest, some other things. So they've been running close to 200,000 in revenue. But
And if we decide to work with the Y, how much would that cost us per year? Or has that been decided yet?
That has not been decided. I don't know, Jill, if you want to provide that?
Sure.
or-
I think that, yeah, Haley asked me sort of for a preliminary budget, and the what I proposed to her was 90,000, which was inclusive of staffing, supplies, program. And then if the city chose not to move forward with paying Marshall Opportunity School the $25,000, that would provide the rental for me or for the Y to cover Washington Gardner Gymnasium. So in totality, the proposed budget for 21 would be 115,000 if that 25,000 was included in that total. And then, as I think Haley referenced, there would be opportunities then to leverage additional grant funding to supplement any programs. And the intention behind that was to leave some money on the table for the things that Haley talked about, the other programmatic pieces that recreation does. And then I also want to make sure that there is a local task force that participates in the development of future recreation programming. So I'd like to hear from parents from local kids about what kinds of programs they want to see either created or retained.
And to kind of expand off of that, Council, you've recently created the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission, and I would like to incorporate that commission into this process. The position, if we go the YMCA route, who is overseeing the programming, they would be responsible. I would like for them to come and report quarterly to that Parks and Recreation Commission so that we are constantly receiving that community input and guidance and feedback. As well as council, report back to council. So our boards and commissions will be involved with the Y, so we always have that community input and checks and balance aspect to it.
I'd like to just jump in for a minute from the college's perspective, if I could. We are very committed to redeveloping the Washington Gardner High School and excited that the YMCA may be a partner with us in that. We intend for the building to be a community building. The academic departments that would be going into that building are art, theater, music, and education. And we have reserved enough space for the Y and for some other community programs to use space in that building. We are also working on other spaces around campus. The Catholic Church is a place that we're beginning to think about redoing as well. And every time we do this, we're thinking about how we can do this in ways that will be helpful to the community. Another aspect of this that we think is positive is that we have federal funds that come to the college each year for work study for our students to be employed. And one of the opportunities we have if the Y comes into town is that we can use some of those funds to employ students at the Y. It's not as easy to do that to employ students with the city, but it's pretty easy to do that to employ students with the Y. So it'd give us an opportunity to leverage some of those funds to employ more students to be in the community, working in the community. And then finally, I wanted to say that, from our perspective, we are trying to better build connectivity between the youth in Albion and the college. And we want our campus to be open to students. So we're excited at the possibility of students being able to use the pool again. And we have plans to create more green spaces, both on and around campus, for fields and other things, other uses, including perhaps outdoor theater and outdoor art. So I just wanted to sort of say that out loud. And lastly, I'll say that we have been in conversation the last few days about creating and providing space for the food distribution that is currently taking place in the food hub. The college has made a commitment that we will provide space to make sure that that continues out of one of our facilities, has yet to be determined which one. And our new food service provider, Metz Culinary, has offered to start, once COVID is over, providing cooking classes. Our chefs will provide free of charge cooking classes to the community. They do this in Cleveland in one of their hospitals quite successfully, where they give cooking classes over the course of 7 nights, and then the family who participates gets some new cutlery and new cooking supplies and new recipes around nutritious and valuable food. So we're thinking about every way we can to contribute to the community moving forward. I hope that's evident in some of the things we've done in the past few months, and this would be another way that we think we could do that.
I wanted to get in line for questions, but I saw both Councilor Clark had her hand up, and then I think Council-elect Jackson also, I don't know if her question was answered, but I do have a question. I just wanted to get in line.
I was just going to call on Councilmember Clark. So, Councilmember Clark, you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now? No?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so a couple of things I keep hearing the word programs. I guess what I would like to know, I would want a more comprehensive plan of what programs mean. It's too general for me right now. So, and I know that's where we're at in the general stage, but I would like to know more of what programs would be included or thought about in the future. For right now, most of the programs that I heard you speaking of were mostly programs for older adults. I didn't hear much for younger elementary students or junior high students.
I think, Haley, did they get the listing of programs that we, the possible programs? And so to define program, basically, I'm using that as an inclusive term to talk about anything from T-ball to hip hop stuff to the fitness and the feature at the Bohm to Holland Park summer camp. So program is just kind of the catch-all phrase or the bucket that I'm calling recreation programming. But we intend to create the continuum of kids to adults or seniors. And to that end, the Y has entered into a contract with the Calhoun Intermediate School District to have GSRP seats. So we have 37 slots for GSRP, which is for 4 and 5-year-olds. And then in addition to then creating summer camps and to having the second year of the Holland Park summer camp. And that was for middle school aged kids. I know that that when I met with Haley and Larry, we talked about Peapods and Summer Dreams. They've had run some really great programs in the past. So it is the intention to create opportunities for kids, not only through sports leagues, sporting events, tournament play, and also then summer camps and other opportunities.
Thank you. Councilmember-elect Jackson, did you have some questions too?
You know, I can go on and on about programs. So I take the list that you have here, and I see, just as Councilman Clark has spoke of, that was my concern too, because yet not being clear, even with basketball and T-ball, and there's some other programs that need to go forward, you know, that we need to teach our youth. And they should be a part of, but yeah, a lot of them are for older individuals. So I just hope that we come up with a plan that is more specific.
Right. Oh,
more
absolutely.
detailed,
Right. I think you're
'cause-
just seeing the initial list of what we had offered, and then the intention is to continue to offer that, build on what the offerings the recreation department did historically, and then also add programs in consultation with the task force, like T-ball, like youth basketball. I think there's been a great deal of open gym time. There would be that offered as well. So the specifics of youth programming would be what traditionally we all grew up with the recreation program, the Easter egg hunt, the summer T-ball, the basketball for elementary and junior high students. I know there's been some interest into like football. So it would be inclusive of all of those programs or all of those activities.
All right, that sounds good. I would like for it to make sure that it's all year round, not only
Correct.
just summer, not just, the Easter egg hunt, something that's just a day, but an all year around program. And the health program, I really think that's very vitally important. And then if we do keep, what do we call it back there? I'm sorry. The fruits, what do you call that? The fruits and vegetables back there in the back that you spoke of, Haley?
The farmer's market.
The farmer's market, thank you. That we do keep that, which is awesome, so that we can incorporate what they bring to our city to help, fix the different types of foods that you also spoke of, Dr. Johnson. That's wonderful. But I just believe these types of programs that we put out that they did have at the Opportunity School or our Washington Garden School that will be coming also, that they are programs that are to help our children all year round.
Absolutely, and that's where I want to kind of tie in our Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission, to where this individual will be reporting back to them quarterly. So we are constantly getting that community input and feedback on what types of programs they would like to see at different types of years. So yes, we would. Our plan is to offer different programs year round.
Yeah, I just want to jump in here too and say I fully am. The college is 100% behind the year-round effort, and also what I hear you saying, Councilwoman Jackson, is that you want developmental scaffolded programs that provide youth with the opportunity to grow, not just single events. And part of what I've been really impressed by as I've learned about the WISE programming in Battle Creek is that's what they do. And part of our goal in Washington Gardner of putting the education department in there is that our education faculty and students can work to build programs that are exactly the types of programs that you're talking about, that start with, and Jill, I think I'm not speaking out of turn here to say that those 3rd and 4th grade third, 3 and 4 year old classrooms, the pre-K classrooms, are also probably going to end up in Washington Gardner. And so we're trying to go from that age all the way up to, and Shane might want to speak to this, but I'm working with Shane on a project to try and do retired housing behind Washington Gardner out in the brownfield. So we go from 3 and 4 years old all the way up to and including perhaps retirement housing around the old Washington Gardner School, with the clinic next door, and our commitment to the food distribution, and now the YMCA as a partner. So that's what we're trying to do in sort of an integrated way.
Councilmember-elect LaNOUE, did you have some more?
I do. I have a few questions. Thank you. I am wondering about the Parks and Recreation Committee and whether there's an age limit. Is it possible for there to be a youth liaison in that commission as well?
I don't know how it's set up now, but I think that's absolutely a key voice to include.
Okay, that's been my concern with all of this, and I'm really glad we were just talking about that developmental process for our youth. My other question is regarding the farmers market position, special projects coordinator. Considering the nature of all of this work is going to most likely be reliant on grant funding, I'm wondering if we could also, when we're putting the job position out there, include anything that mentions those skill sets, because I think that that's something we've talked about a lot, and maybe this is a doorway to that also being a possibility.
Absolutely. With the farmers market, that relies heavily on grants. So yes, that will be that individual would need to have strong grant writing abilities or skills. Yes.
Awesome.
I was going to speak in favor of this kind of new model that Haley's bringing to council. The last year I've had a lot of experience with the Y doing programming in a time when we really weren't supposed to do a lot of programming, or we weren't really allowed to be together. And having seen the way they've re-engineered their programming models and their delivery, and how they've had such an impact on our community in such a short amount of time. I mean, in the future at a home, hip hop step outside of the Opportunity School, the youth camps this summer at Holland Park, and then we also can't forget the younger kid day camps when the pandemic started at Kids and Stuff Children Museum right downtown. It has really been exciting to see how the Y has integrated its services into Albion as if it had been here all along. And so I'm really excited about the opportunity to expand those programs. I myself have a young family, and we have kids who are ready to learn to swim and go to preschool. And there's not many. You're either in a preschool that you qualify for assistance to go to, or there's only one option in Albion. It'd be great to have another option for children in this community to go to a different preschool. It would also be nice to have T-ball. I was probably one of the last groups of kids that actually played T-ball in Albion at Victory Park. And that tells you that it's been quite a long time since we've had T-ball. So again, I think I'm really excited about the opportunities to expand the programming opportunities for the community. And then the collaborative nature with the college, the city, the community, the recreation task force, the idea that this is multi-generational is really exciting to me and to many of the folks that I've talked to over the last several weeks. So again, I'm just kind of speaking in favor of this look, and I want to echo Councilmember Clark and Council-elect Jackson's comments that it will be nice to see what does a year look like of programming from the Y, and kind of that comprehensive, like, this is what we're going to do this year, and then this is how we're going to grow it the next. And I think that can be done, and I'm excited to see what Jill comes up with. Are there more questions from other council members or other community folks? Okay, so next, are we sure we don't have any more questions? Because
I have one, please, Mayor Pro Tem.
Sure, Councilmember Lawler.
Does the question can be a general question? I mean, can the comment be general, or do I have to stick to the budget?
You can talk about the recreation program, anything we're talking about that's on the agenda tonight. Yes.
Okay, my thing is not on the agenda, so okay, I'll just leave it alone.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other comments or questions tonight? My dog has attended the meeting. Okay, so next up on the agenda, public comments. Are there any public comments tonight?
I do see Commissioner Tompkins here, but he does not have his hand up, so I don't know if he would like to make a comment tonight, but.
You mean Gary doesn't want to talk?
I will allow him. So Commissioner Tompkins, you have the option to provide a comment if you wish.
No talk tonight, just wanted to say hi to everybody and just listening in, because I know, as you know, roads are such a big thing for me. So I obviously seen that on the agenda tonight, and I thought I would at least pop in and just see what's going on. So that's it. You guys have a great evening. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tompkins. We mentioned Act 51, your favorite act.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so seeing any other public comments, City Manager Snyder, do you have anything to add?
I do not. Just only on Monday night, I have provided both options regarding recreation, so we can kind of finalize which route or direction we would like to take. So that will happen Monday night. But that's all I have.
Okay, any council member comments? Again, this can be related to the agenda or not.
Okay, I have one, please.
Councilmember Lawler?
Is Dr. Johnson still with us?
I am.
Hi, it's Marcola. I just was hearing you talk about the senior housing in 4th Precinct, and I'd like to ask if I could just attend some meetings that you may have. I don't have to say anything. I just want to attend.
Yeah, that I would welcome that. We've met once before in my office, and I think Shane and I need to probably sit down with you and talk about some of the things that we're doing.
I'm trying to exclude you. Let me see.
Councilmember Lawler, I can share with you, we should meet with you. It's in the very early stages. The Community Foundation has received a grant to kind of lay the foundation for senior housing in Albion. And so definitely we need to include you. We're finding some leaders for the process now to pull people together. So.
That's great. That's great. I like it.
Thank you. Any other, Councilmember Clark?
I'd just like to ask if we haven't heard from Amy for a while, so for the next meeting, if it would be possible, if she could be added to the agenda to give us an update, because since COVID, nobody really knows what's going on or what is stopped or where we're at. So if we could have the EDC come give us a report or an update.
I will reach out to her.
Thank you.
That's great, Councilmember Clark. Any other councilmember comments?
You, Councilman Clark. That's on my heart.
Okay, so not seeing any more comments. I want to thank everyone for joining tonight. I'm really excited about Monday. We started a new council term, and I thank everyone for the passion and energy around this issue. Looking forward to working with you all. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have support?
Support.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a good night.